in. I actually think maybe what we'll do to kick it off, if you guys are good, is why don't we do a little speed round of a speed date round here and give us the who you are, where you are, and what you do or what your business is focused on. So, Steph, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Steph Spears. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Solstice. We are a community solar company. We connect households and businesses to community shared solar farms, and we manage the whole customer experience for the life of the project with our software. And I'm in Boston. I was born and raised in Hawaii.
Nice. All right. Can you tell me how you pronounce your name? Is it?
It's Shazia.
Shazia. Okay, awesome. Sweet. Jump in.
Okay, thank you, Connie. And it's nice to see you, Steph. I've seen you before. We've been on a panel together before. My name is Shazia Khan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EcoEnergy. EcoEnergy is a tech company, and we're accelerating the adoption of solar in emerging markets, namely Asia, starting with Pakistan. So my background is that I'm an environmental lawyer. My specialization is in energy and international business. I began my career at the World Bank, and I launched EcoEnergy with my co-founder, Jeremy Higgs, in 2017. We're working to provide an end-to-end solution for people in emerging countries like Pakistan who want to make the transition onto solar, and we make it affordable for them, and we connect them to financing. And we've developed several technologies over the past 2 years to accelerate that process.
That's awesome. My name's Connie Stacy. I'm the president and founder of Growing Greener Innovations, and we're battery energy storage systems manufacturer. So a little bit different. Everybody thinks renewables and thinks about solar. Battery is one of those pieces that helps to tie those things together. I'm situated in Edmonton, Alberta, and our real technology is we have a patented system that helps to increase accessibility to renewables by taking the technicians out of the equation. Effectively, we put the engineer and the electrician in the box so that you can snap things together like Lego. So that's kind of where I come from. All right, let's get into some fun. All right, Steph, what do you think is the most pressing issue that you're facing in this industry and in your business?
Yeah, so the way we've gotten our electricity hasn't really changed in over a century. And the cool thing is it's about to change a lot in the next decade. And it's not really a question of whether the green transition will happen. Thankfully, even, with this political environment, we're seeing that happen really quickly. But it is a question as to whether that transition will be equitable. And so if you look at America, where we work, 4 out of 5 Americans are actually locked out of the solar market. And it's for a variety of reasons. Like they can't put solar on their home because they're a renter or a condo owner, or there's something wrong with their rooftop, like it's facing the wrong way, or it's made out of the wrong materials, or there's a tree covering their roof. And maybe they have financial issues, like they can't afford the cost of solar, or they can't they don't have the right FICO credit score to get access to solar financing. And so when you add up all of those reasons, 4 out of 5 Americans are locked out, but it's most precipitous with low to moderate income Americans, which are disproportionately Black and brown. So you look at the people who are most affected by air pollution and thus COVID morbidity, the most people who live in the hottest neighborhoods, who live closest to fossil fuels, who pay a disproportionate amount of their salary on energy. And it's, again, low income Americans that are disproportionately Black and brown. And so these are issues of life and death. Who gets access to clean energy and who doesn't? Who gets to get the benefits of the green economy and who doesn't? And so I think this is the most pressing issue we need to work on now. Clean energy will get built, but will it get extended to the people who are most affected by climate change? Not if we don't do something about it.
I 100% agree, Steph. I actually, and correct me if I'm wrong here, one of my team was telling me the other day that one of the states, I'm probably going to get this wrong, I want to say it's Missouri, one of the main utility providers is charging people with rooftop solar triple the amount of other people so that it actually becomes less economically viable to have solar. Like they're trying to actively dissuade people from doing it, which blows my mind. Mm-hmm. I can't agree more about the problem about accessibility because it is both regionally within the US or within Canada, but then globally where we talk about, Shazia talking about areas like Pakistan, where, the entire nation is at a less advantaged position economically, and it's going to make it harder. Shazia, what about you? What are you facing in your space?
Yeah, I mean, just building off what the two of you have said, this issue of energy access is really one that comes down to equitability. Who is going to be the next? Who are the remaining 1 billion people in this world who don't have power, and how can we get it to them in a way that's affordable and make the transition for them as easy as possible? Not just so that they get an electricity connection, but so that they can actually have power that they can use to improve their lives. That they actually have opportunity for, to meaningfully change their lives. And so I've been working in this space for about 20 years. And over the last decade, the technology, the solar technology has improved tremendously, and the cost has come down almost 90%. So when I was starting 10 years ago in rural villages, trying to understand what people's basic energy needs were and what their purchasing power was, well, actually the technology improved and the price became much, much more reasonable for everyone. But the distribution problem still remains. How do you make a business case for somebody that's trying to decide between feeding their families, paying school fees, their health care, and any other number of investments that are pressing on them? How do you make solar affordable to them? So providing access to financing is one bit of it, but then really going to them and making a business case for them for how and why this could actually make financial sense for them. That's what we've been focused on. So I'll give an example. We provide a typical system that we provide to an urban residential family is a 5 kilowatt or a 10 kilowatt. Well, a 5 kilowatt system costs $3,000. It takes about 31 months for people to recover their investment from that, because we can generate savings of about $198 a month. So after 31 months, their system is paid off. But still, they need that initial $3,000 to do this. And so we are connecting them with commercial banks, with microfinance institutions, so that they can get the loan that they need to get this very reliable power. And this technology is far more reliable than what they have right now. You saw what happened in Texas just last month, right? When not only is everybody losing their grid power, but then the people that do still have it are paying electricity bills like $17,000, $14,000, just these very volatile electricity prices. Well, these kinds of blackouts happen in Pakistan every day. They happen every day. Last month, not just one region's power went out, the entire country was plunged into darkness for 18 hours. And that happens on a regular basis. So one of the reasons why it was so important for me to start in Pakistan is because this is a country that has 250 million people in it. It's the 5th most populated country in the world. And unlike China and India, the population growth has not stagnated or plateaued. It continues to go up. So if we can figure out a way to get these people onto a clean energy trajectory, people that don't have power or are underpowered, this will be a significant battle won in the fight against climate change. Not only that, but the carbon emissions are supposed to increase in Pakistan 300% over the next 15 years. So it's critically important to get these people onto the clean energy technology now. And the only way to do it is to make it affordable for them and to really make a business case, make it easy for them to make the transition.
I couldn't agree more. There's a couple of interesting facts for people listening in. I know, Shazia, you in particular probably already know this, Steph. I expect you do as well. But when we talk about energy poverty and we talk about energy globally, often those of us are in places that are like Canada and US where, the outages are just not that frequent. But here's a couple of numbers from the UN for you. There are more than 1 billion people that are still at energy tier 0. That's candlelight. There are 2.6 billion people who do not have enough energy to cook in any other way than burning something, which can be everything from debris to garbage, and you name it. And you can imagine what that's like for health. And more than half the world lives in what's called domestic energy poverty, where they have rampant blackouts. And that's a major problem for industry. It's a major problem for individuals, for health, everything. And I really think both of you have hit on really key things about the inequity of these systems and the distribution problem. One of the things that we've tried to focus on, and one of I think this goes across multiple areas. Obviously, I've focused on batteries, but one of the things that I have found has been the biggest inhibitors is the need for technical support. So, I had the opportunity last year before COVID to meet with the ambassador to Canada from Ethiopia. And we were talking about how to support rural villages. Well, if we send them the equipment and they don't have an electrician next door, what do they do with it? Nothing. It becomes the single biggest, in the case of batteries, the single biggest inhibitor. And one of the things we're trying to address is how this marginalizes people. So we've noticed that, or studies have shown that economic growth is perfectly correlated with access to energy. So to attack the problem of poverty globally, we literally have to solve this problem of access to energy. And right now, it is so unequal. The vast majority of people affected are women and children, and they're in the most impoverished nations in the world. And we have to do something about it. My kind of belief or feeling is that everybody should have the right to be able to live a sustainable, clean life without the need to rely on big utilities, big power companies, because as long as that exists, it's all about money and it will never be equitable. So we have to change it. I love that you're both working in this space. Obviously, we're going to talk later. Okay, next question. Opportunities to change or increase our impact. Okay, Shazi, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I am really proud to announce that I was invited to the UN's Technical Working Group on Universal Energy Access. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that because I've been working in this space for so long, and this is something that's near and dear to me, not just in Pakistan, but how do we? I see in the questions. Are we only limiting our work to Pakistan? No, Pakistan is just a really great place for us to demonstrate proof of concept for how we can more equitably, more affordably get solar into people's homes, how we can get them to power farms, factories, housing development in both rural and urban areas. And beyond that, what other technologies can we develop that will accelerate the adoption of solar for not only these people, but for people that we can't reach right now? So for instance, we are only able, right now, we're only reaching an existing customer base of people that own their own rooftop, whether they're a business, a small business owner, or whether they're, like they own their own home. But we've developed this technology we call Dosti, which means friendship in Urdu and Hindi. And it's a peer-to-peer energy sharing platform for people that own commercial or residential office buildings or high-rise apartment buildings. This is a way for us we have a product that we can install on the roof of the Karachi Cotton Exchange, for instance, in downtown Karachi. They have 45 commercial tenants. Well, we can put a meter into each of those tenants' homes. The power that they generate, they can sell that to all of the people, and it comes out to a much cheaper price point, and it's much more reliable than what they're getting from the grid. We have another technology, a digital platform by which we bring customers onto our platform, and we configure a solution for them in 5 minutes or less, and then we leverage the existing ecosystem of technicians and service providers, the existing ecosystem of banks that want to give solar loans, and we provide an end-to-end management solution. But what we're building is not just for Pakistan. What we're showing is that we can use technology to increase the operational efficiency and get to people quicker, faster, cheaper, whether they're a business owner or whether it's their own residence. And then we can extract this IP and we can license the same technology to other countries worldwide. So we have plans to work with local distributor partners across sub-Saharan Africa and in other parts of Asia, where we can do the same thing. We can say this technology can be used to increase the operational efficiency of your solar energy business, get more customers on more quickly, more cheaply, and to support them with after-sales service, because that's what you need. You need the equivalent of utility. You don't just need a system. Our existing customers also want battery storage. They also want energy management systems, energy management, services that can enable them to generate even more savings. So all of this technology, all of this proof of concept, it's not just for Pakistan. It can be applied globally. But we just need to be able to get a little bit more momentum to take the same technology we've developed to accelerate adoption of solar in one country and bring it to other places.
That's amazing. Steph, what about you?
You want to pick up on something you said, Connie, which is that we have to remember that energy is a fundamental human right. And if we treat it as anything less than that, then we'll get into incentives structures that incentivize profiteering as opposed to provision of energy as a human right. And so what we saw, like Shazia mentioned, in Texas is a private system that doesn't put stability of power generation first. It actually puts the provision of profits to energy companies first. And so shifting that paradigm requires us to put more ownership and more of the wealth building that happens in energy in the hands of communities instead. And so when Solstice we work on is community-based, community shared solar power. And so the idea is that you don't have to generate power in a centralized utility, just like you don't have to have all your taxis coming from the city tokens. You can have ride sharing apps and new platforms and new technologies that democratize access to things like transportation and clean energy. And so with community solar, you don't have to have the $40,000 to pay for solar and put it on your roof. You can just pay for the power that's produced by your portion of a shared solar farm instead. And our community solar product is actually no upfront cost. You don't put anything on your home, and you're guaranteed 10% savings on your electricity bill. So we assume clean energy has to be a premium, but it doesn't have to be a premium. We now live in this amazing new era where solar is as cheap as fossil fuels, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper. And so we don't have to accept the world as it has been. We can recreate the world as it should be. And the last thing I'll say is one of the ways we're trying to have impact in this way is we're trying to get rid of FICO credit scores as qualification standards in the United States to get access to clean energy. Little known fact, you have to have a FICO credit score of 680 and above to get access to solar in this country. And more than half the country doesn't have that credit score. And guess who disproportionately doesn't have that credit score? Well, the same folks who have been redlined, Black and brown folks in America. And so we're getting rid of entire populations from accessing clean energy. And we got a little tired of trying to sign people up for solar who didn't have a 700 FICO score. So we created our own score called the Energy Score. It's based on your utility repayment history and actually 1,000 lines of other demographic data. And it's more accurate at predicting who pays their utility bills on time. And it's more inclusive of low to moderate income Americans. So you can use technology to create a new world where we don't rely on something archaic and discriminatory like the FICO credit score. We can create a new world where we can rewrite our destiny.
That's amazing. I absolutely love that. And I think it's totally in spirit with the whole SheEO kind of concept, because they don't choose ventures for their loans based on your credit score. It's based on what you are trying to achieve and the ability for you, like your passion to achieve it. And amazingly, SheEO has better repayment rates than any bank. True. So who's doing it right? I think you're bang on, Steph. One of the interesting areas that I think that, actually there's a lot of room for improvement and efficiency savings is actually on smart city. So one of the things with batteries in particular is there's a lot of move towards decentralized of power. And the idea being that right now the grid cannot handle the load at peak times, right? So most of the time, if you think of like a pipe, yeah, the flow is down here, but we hit dinner time and things are going down, right? So the idea of decentralizing the power helps us then levelize the load. And one of the interesting stats I read recently, I wish I had the source with me, but there was a group out of the US did a study, and they said a 3% efficiency gain across the entire US grid would be the equivalent of taking 19 million cars off the road. Think about that. 3%. That's nothing. That's nothing in terms of savings. So there's just so much opportunity for us to do things individually, where we live right here, but also globally, right? My passion happens to really be around energy poverty and bringing it to the remote areas. And it's not just undeveloped countries or lesser developed countries. We have plenty of places in Canada. Sadly, a lot of our Indigenous communities are not receiving the type of support that they should and that all Canadians should be able to access. So that's where my heart lies, but I also know that there's an opportunity to get big business bought on because they can save a pile of money. And if they can save a pile of money and help everybody else, I think that's a big win. So I really think there's an enormous opportunity for impact there. And that's some of the areas that I know we work in. Okay, we're starting to get low on time. So here's the next one. Okay, give me the 1 minute. What can everybody who's listening do to help you move forward in your cause? Go, Steph.
Well, first of all, we all have to try to select political leaders who get us off of fossil fuels. When you vote for someone, make sure that you know what their climate stance is, because we haven't voted on climate in the past, and we need to do that going forward. In terms of our own personal organization, if you live in the United States, go to our website at solstice.us and sign up for our waiting list to be on a community solar farm when it comes to your community. If you're in Massachusetts, New York, and Illinois, we can plug you in immediately. And we have projects coming online all across this country. So I'll pause there.
That's awesome. Okay, Shazia.
Okay. So, well, there's lots of things that you could do to help. If you are interested, EcoEnergy has just hit $1 million in revenue. We've developed 3 new technologies. We just signed on to a project with the World Bank that will take us from electrifying 10,000 to 200,000 homes and small businesses within the next 4 years. I'm going to be giving a pitch later because we're looking to raise just $50,000 more. So if you're interested in an investment opportunity, we can give concessionary terms. But yeah, I'll be giving a presentation later today at 4:45 for ventures that are raising funding. And if you want to get involved in a very actionable way in this fight against climate change, but you're also looking for an investable opportunity, I would encourage you to reach out to me.
That's awesome. It's amazing. For myself, I think in terms of my need, it's a tough one. We're trying to grow, which is a really interesting thing. And we're in a space where, quite frankly, it's extremely dominated by big business, the Schneiders and Siemens of the world. So I guess my ask, geez, I should have thought about this before I asked you guys the question, right? I guess my ask would be just come and support us, get online. The more people we have talking about what we're doing and trying to increase access for people, the further and faster it goes for everyone. And I think that's just such a win. Okay, so we've only got 1 minute and 40 left. If anybody hits me with a really great question, I will throw it up. Okay, well, I'll throw out one more since we don't have one yet. All right, who's your eco hero? Shazia.
Oh, it's so hard to choose just one because there's so many. You're my hero, Connie.
Hey.
Like, we're actually doing something really actionable to move the needle in the fight against climate change and to empower people with something that they need. I'll share just one quick thing with you. In the beginning, 10 years ago, when I started this work, it started educating people about solar. They would say things to me like, well, that's really cute, but that's not going to solve this. Decentralized solar can't solve this problem on the scale that it needs to be solved. But that to me is like somebody telling me, well, your cell phone's really cute, but what you should really be doing is waiting for the infrastructure for a landline to be built to your house. Like, that's how antiquated and stupid it sounds to me. You know, we have a whole new world, a whole new technology that can be built on the back of this decentralized system. Why wouldn't we take advantage of that? Why are we holding on to such an antiquated system for powering people when technology has progressed so much in the last decade?
I'm going to jump in really fast, and then Steph, you're going to close us out. You know what? I think the 3 of us are going to get online together after, and we're going to make some serious impact because we're already doing some work in India right now, Shazia, and Pakistan is a real close neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd love to do work with you. And I know that Steph, with what you're doing, it all fits together. So